Good evening and welcome to Android Authority on Air, the original Android Hangout show on Google+. I'm Derek Ross.
I'm Scott Anderson.
And this week we are joined by two special guests. Returning guest Dan Charlton of TMIT ROM and Kernels, and fellow Android enthusiast Derek Moore. Welcome, guys. So, Scott, what are we talking about this week?
Well, this week we got some device news. New Nexus 7 came out. We're going to be going over impressions of that. We're going to be talking about some carrier news, also some app updates, get some abilities for Jelly Bean, also some device news, and then talk about some patents. And that's what we're going to be talking about this week. First, let's start off with AT&T news. They basically announced that they have new mobile shared plans. The new mobile shared plans are going to be implemented towards the end of August. Now, this is kind of following in Verizon's footsteps with shared data plans. The difference really is the fact that AT&T allows you to keep your unlimited data plan or use the new shared plan. So it's not necessarily taking away your unlimited, whereas on Verizon, if you were to start a new contract, you would be in the shared data plans no matter what. So that's kind of a nice differentiator for AT&T. But price-wise, if you use a lot of data, and you have a lot of smartphones or devices, you're kind of going to get screwed out of price. But it is nice for people that don't use a whole bunch of data and don't have a whole bunch of devices. I can think of people that don't use a whole bunch of data, or older people, I may think, that might benefit from these plans. But yeah, so it's interesting to have more choice, and definitely helps out the users. And yeah, so let's talk about Verizon as well. Verizon is implementing more markets in their 4G LTE networks. I think today they expanded and released into 33 new markets. And basically by the end of the year, they want to have 400 markets. But right now they are at about 337. So they're definitely on track to have 400 markets, and hopefully they hit that. But basically they are blanketing the United States with LTE, which is awesome.
And those 337 markets they have out of 400 does not include my hometown where I'm sitting at right now. But I'll tell you what, they keep surrounding me, though, here in central Pennsylvania. They lit up a slew of places yesterday and today, and you know what? I didn't see Huntington listed. I'm getting kind of sad. I want my LTE at home. That way, I have a choice between my Wi-Fi, and my LTE.
It'll come eventually.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure the rural areas will get it eventually. I mean, I have it at work. I have it if I drive 30 miles in every direction, except for right, smack in the middle here where I'm at. But I can't wait to get into the
tower right at your house.
What's that?
You just need like one tower right at your house.
Well, I live around mountains. I live around mountains. You put up a tower on a mountain and it blankets the whole valley.
Well, but I mean, they got like DuBois and Clearfield, which are pretty, I don't want to say small town, but yeah, they're small towns in central Pennsylvania. So,
what do they got? They got a groundhog once a year that does something. I mean, we have a lake. There's a big tourist attraction here. Okay. Oh, all right, but Verizon, you're doing a bang-up job. Just bring it to my area.
Yeah, they're dominating all of the other carriers, especially.
Their goal is to cover everything, and then they don't need to keep broadcasting a CDMA network.
Yeah.
They just force upgrade everybody and say, you got 2 more years. Get a new phone within 2 years, or you're done.
Yeah, they're going to,
and then they just run one tech across the entire network.
They're going to start testing voice over LTE.
Mm-hmm.
More.
They've been testing
I think they're actually already testing it now, but they're going to start deploying it in 2013.
Yeah, that'll be interesting when that happens.
Yeah, but they don't have handoff for voice calls between LTE and CDMA yet, though. I think they're still working.
Oh, yes, they do. Qualcomm did a proof of concept on that. I want to say at CES.
Yeah. Well, let's go into some Jelly Bean app updates. Basically, SwiftKey 3 got some support for Jelly Bean, and also had some bug fixes, which is nice. I know that's a very popular app. very popular keyboard replacement. Also, Google Play Music is got a very big update. Allows for queuing and reordering current playlist music, and also new UI for navigation with transport controls in the action bar. Also, new large albums, so bigger pictures are always nice. And the playlist art is also constructed from albums in the song playlist, which is also nice. And they also do have a now playing widget, has album art and support for thumbs up, which is also awesome. So let's talk about some devices. Derek?
Well, those of you that think you need tons and tons of storage on your mobile devices, upwards of 64 gigabytes, will be happy to know that Samsung with the Galaxy S3 has you covered. They plan on releasing an S3 with 64 gig later this year. So I guess the real question is do you really need 64 gig on a mobile phone? With, phones storing so much in the cloud nowadays, I personally don't. But I know there are some people out there that, especially people that I'm friends with actually, that think that they need to store as many movies, games, music, whatever they can, just in case they happen to need it offline. So I guess, I don't need it. How about Dan? Do you need 64 gig on your phone?
But also, so we're clear, this is upwards of 128 gigabytes of storage, because you can still put in a 64 gigabyte SD card.
Yeah. So, but then you got to figure out the devices that don't have SD cards. And 64 gigs is nice local storage, but I think it's overkill, personally. It would be nice to go on a trip with all of your movies and all of your music. And not have to cache it from Google Music or something like that. More storage and more options are nice, and I think this will definitely be, I think the public will react in purchasing. They'll figure out if it's something that is needed, and probably in the future with different devices. If it doesn't sell well, then they probably will stick with the 32 and 16 and 8. So
it's also a competition thing, right? You can get the iPhone in 16, 32, or 64.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess I didn't look at it that way. But as we'll talk about later in the show, Samsung is not copying Apple, though, so I don't know if it is a copy.
Is there data on how the various iPhone models are selling in terms of storage? I know Apple releases some stats, but I haven't seen.
I don't know if they release stats about the particular storage space.
Yeah.
I would assume that 32 is the top seller.
Yeah. In terms of stuff like Google Music automatically caches and does a pretty good job managing the cache, so it's never been an issue for me, and I don't really want to watch video on my phone, so.
It is a 4-point, really big inch screen.
But still, if it's
I don't know what you need to store on your phone with it. I really don't. Even if you're into games, can you really store that many games on your phone?
Yeah, no. Most games,
but you do have to also look at
games and play those. They don't need tons and tons of space for all of these other games that they don't really play.
But also, they are coming out with more graphic-intensive games that are taking up a lot of storage. Now, whether it's you just download the app that's the actual downloader of third-party packages or add-ons, I think that it is nice to have a whole bunch of storage just because it will actually push developers to have third-party and add-ons and more options that developers can often offer their customers, which I think is an interesting way to look at it, maybe.
I've actually noticed less games having the add-on stuff since Google upped the APK size.
Agreed.
Now that they can package it all into just one file, they started taking advantage of that.
Yeah, and what's that limit? 3 gigs?
I think it's 3 or 4 gigabytes now.
Okay, yeah. So for the
500 megabytes.
Yeah, so for the time being, whether it's an add-on or whether it's just in APK installation, they're getting bigger and they're getting more graphic intensive and more storylines and videos. And
they are.
But I think that as technology progresses, I think they'll only get bigger.
All right, so let's talk about some root and ROM news that happened this week. Well, CM9 hit RC2, and also when RC2 was released, we had some additional devices show up with the RC2 release candidate status. You had the Galaxy S3 i9300, the Samsung Galaxy Tab 2 10.1, as well as the Skyrocket, which is the variant of the SGS2, and the AT&T, and the T-Mobile version of the SGS2, the Hercules as well, is now RC2. And last but not least, the Samsung Galaxy Note. So a whole bunch of Samsung devices got RC2 status with CM9. Now, you might be thinking, well, CM9, with Jelly Bean out there, I don't really care. Well, thankfully, the CM team has us covered, and this week they teased the hell out of us with a whole mess of different devices posting all over the interwebs, from YouTube to Twitter to Google+. We saw all sorts of different pictures, screenshots, and so forth of a lot of different devices running CM10, just to let us know that they're actively working on it. So we saw the Optimus 4X, we saw the HTC One S. Oh my, an HTC device. We had a lot of people excited about that. We saw the Zoom.
It's pretty.
We saw the Nexus 7. No surprise, but it's a Nexus device. We saw the international SGS3, as well as the AT&T version, the T-Mobile version, the Sprint version. Oddly enough, we didn't see the Verizon version because that whole lock bootloader thing. We saw the HTC Sensation, the Galaxy S, the original one. We saw the Skyrocket, the Epic Touch, the Galaxy Tab 10.1, as well as the Toro and Morago are all running extreme alphas right now, preview, teasers, whatever you want to call them. So the CM team is definitely working very hard on version 10 of Jelly Bean. So I'm sure in the next coming weeks, we'll start seeing some nightlies. So far, they have a bunch of features that are merged into the CM10 Jelly Bean release. We have the power menu with screenshot capabilities working. Profiles is working, lock screen calendar and lock screen weather, notification light customization, battery light customization, the selector notification toggle, and a few other support settings, which basically brings the feature set very close to what is available in CM9. So they're getting very, very close. Very exciting. I think that we'll see CM10 nightlies for a bunch of devices, most likely in the very near future.
So let's move on to some patent-related stuff. You guys remember last week when Judge Colin Burris, he ruled Samsung's Galaxy Tab is not as cool as the iPad and not infringing on Apple's designs. You guys remember that?
Good and bad.
I remember that. He let the world know that that iPad was cooler, but that had some consequences, didn't it?
Yeah, basically, it turns out that some of the major, the insult that came from Apple is the judge is actually saying that Apple has to publicly announce that the Galaxy Tab did not copy the iPad. And basically saying that publicly is, I think, reinvigorating their tarnished reputation through what happened. And I think it is a good decision that the judge made. But Apple's argument was, well, it's just free publicity, and we didn't really tarnish their brand that much. And well, yeah, it is free publicity, so that's awesome.
The judge ruled they're going to have to put it up on their website for 6 months.
Yep.
Saying they didn't copy them, and also as well as major British newspapers run articles in there. So they want the word. The judge wants the word out there that Samsung did not copy Apple, and I think that's pretty damn cool. I can't wait to go to Apple's website and screenshot that article.
Oh, it'll only be apple.co.uk.
Well, yeah, exactly. But that's good enough for me.
Oh yeah.
And we don't know how prominent it has to be on their website.
And the footer, heading size 6 in the footer down below.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big fat welcome to British law, Apple, because they take speech a lot more seriously than they do in the U.S. I mean, you can't go around trashing people and saying they're doing all of these illegal things if they're not. You get in trouble for that there. Here, you can get away with it. But not there. Also in patent news, though, a German judge ruled that the Motorola Zoom was not infringing on the iPad design.
So that was 2 wins in a week. So. But the
patent wars continue. This time it's a win for the Android side. I like it. I can't wait to see what repercussions.
Well, the Samsung Apple trial in the U.S. is coming up at the end of the month, and that's going to be very interesting to see how that goes. Yeah,
and well, with regards to Motorola, the import ban is effective. So the import ban, I don't know how they're going to deal with that, but I think that they just imported a whole bunch of products before the actual import ban and have released a large stock or have a large stock to compensate for it, maybe.
And there are most of the devices that was because of, just to be clear for listeners, that was because of Microsoft ActiveSync patents, nothing to do with Apple in this case. But it was mostly for really old devices like the Click and the Backflip and just stuff that isn't even on the market anymore. I mean, the only thing I think they have that they still sell is the Zoom and maybe the X2. Everything else looked to be...
That's really what Microsoft has been pushing, running around getting all the Android OEMs to pay them licensing fees, is these ActiveSync, these exchange-related patents.
Well, the majority of them are already due, right?
Yeah. In fact, Google pays a fee.
To
be able to package it into Android. I can't remember what version they started packaging it in with, but they pay to be able to do that.
Can't Google just pay a fee for the OS?
Well, I think that's why it's just these old devices.
Okay.
Because ones running newer OSs sort of get grandfathered in.
Okay.
So let's hit the meat of the show. And just in time, we were just joined by John Curley. He wasn't able to make it on time, but he made it perfectly just in time for Nexus 7 information. So earlier this week, or late last week, depending on which part of the story you want to start talking about first. In recent times, the Nexus 7 became readily available to the masses. If you ordered it from a place where, like, many people did, it started showing up on Tuesday.
Disappointing.
And John has 3 of them because he's insane. So let's talk about the shipping woes there.
On an iPad.
A lot of people were upset that there was no shipment notification from Google, and retailers all over the U.S. were selling. So basically, a lot of people were upset because they paid money for shipping to pre-order it, and people were going to Walmart, Sam's Club, Best Buy, whatever, Staples, and picking these things up. So a lot of people were upset. Google eventually shed some light on the subject, stating that basically, wow, these things are selling like hotcakes, as the saying goes. They had an incredible demand for them, and bigger than they had expected, I guess. So they had a little bit of a shipping debacle, but they let everybody know that they've shipped every 8 gigabyte version that was ordered prior to the 13th. That was ordered standalone. So if you ordered like a case or a Nexus Q with it as well, that didn't ship for a few days later. And then the 16 gigabyte version, standalone once again, not with an extra charger or a Q or something, or a case. Those are actually shipping by the end of the day tomorrow. So some people, if you got the big guy, the 16 gig version, you still might not get it for another 2 days. Maybe.
Which I assume that the 16 gig was the one that was in the highest of demand.
You know what? I don't know.
I think they were even.
I would say they were pretty even because a lot of people want something cheap, and then a lot of people want more space. So I'm guessing it's probably pretty even, but we won't know until if we're ever told any type of number. But either way, it looks like if that's the case, the 16 gig versions, people won't start getting them. For the next couple of days, people will still be getting them.
And they had to change it to overnight on the shipping instead of 2-day too.
Oh yeah, it was nice of Google to do that, give you overnight shipping. Yeah. So that I'm sure that made a lot of people happy.
I think you're being overly generous. Oh, it's just a shipping error. They had so much demand. Demand is irrelevant. These are pre-orders. They knew exactly how many of them there were. It's not like, oh God, more people showed up at the store today to ask for them. We freaking signed up weeks in advance. They knew exactly how many of them people were expecting the day they went on sale, and they failed to put them in a box and ship them.
They never said when it was going to ship. It said shipping in 2 to 3 weeks.
It did, but you know as well as I do, if you're going to release a product, the people who pre-order it get it the same day it goes on sale in the stores.
I assume that's how pre-order works. I even made a post about it earlier.
Every other company that makes a
pre-order means you get it the day it launches. That's why you do it. But that didn't happen for whatever the reason, and you know what? I was upset at first, but I realized in the grand scale of things, the tablet's pretty awesome. So I don't care. I eventually got it. Yeah, my world was shattered for 2 days, but you know what? I'm extremely happy with it. So I'm not that upset anymore. I'm not. I don't care. I did.
It was a large misstep for Google, and. I think acknowledging that definitely makes them realize that, hey, next time we release a product, this is how we need to operate, and this is what we don't need to do again.
Well, and look at it this way. This is based on a little bit of fact and a little bit of what's been happening in the past couple days. So you buy one from Google, you pre-order, and everyone's complaining, well, why did I spend $14 for shipping or whatever you paid for shipping when I could have just went to Sam's Club or something, picked it up without paying the extra few bucks. Well, it said a lot of people are speculating this and comparing it to previous product launches as well as issues they've been having the past few days. Is that when you order it from Google, they're the ones that's going to handle the product replacement. So if you need to have it replaced, for a warranty issue or something, they're going to send you a new one. And then you can ship back the one that you have is defective. They're going to do an advanced product replacement, where most places don't do that. You have to send them the defective one. Once they receive it, they'll send you it back. So if you wanted to go to a store, that might, you might not walk out of there because they're sold out. You might not walk out of there with a new one. And people that are getting defective Nexus 7s this week are shipping them back after they get a new one. So it's a little added bonus. You had to wait 2 days, but you get that extra, Google's a little bit of satisfaction.
Yeah, but when you sit there and your coworker orders it the next day, and they get it before you do, and you ordered it before the keynote, it kind of throws a little like, what the heck?
Oh, yeah. I understand, man. I ordered it before the keynote too. You and I ordered it at the same time. I was kind of saddened, but I got over it. I think that's okay.
Yeah, it's not going to make me not buy another Google product, but it is a huge misstep for them.
Maybe they
Google's still pre-ordering it for the people that are die-hard customers. Those are the people you want to go out of your way for, not the people you want to leave out, hanging out to dry.
I think they could have let people know about the shipping situation a couple days prior, but they tried to make it right by overnight.
Before stores started selling them?
Now, mind you, I didn't get charged for mine, so I'm not going to complain.
And there's also, rumors that saying that, stores sold them early too. They should have waited for Google's, go ahead. It was getting pushed back another day or two.
But that's
the stores went ahead and sold it anyway.
Logistics problem, right? Like, stores aren't unaccustomed to, we get this product, we keep it in storage for 48 hours, and then it goes on sale.
Google doesn't really have a lot of experience with, physical product
that's
retail.
A communications problem.
What they really should have done is they should have said, okay, hey, pre-orders, once we get all of the initial pre-orders out, then
we actually bother putting them in stores.
And then retailers, you can sell them. I think that would have been the wisest decision. All they needed to do was say, wait, and then they're good. But That didn't happen, and hopefully they learned from this mistake.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about a little bit more doom and gloom before we get on to the good stuff. So some people are reporting some dead pixels. Well, you know what? When you're going to push out 600,000 devices, you're going to have some that have bad pixels. Every major device out there, these happen. So this should not deter you from buying, this device. Yeah. Everything, when you make something in mass quantities, you're going to get something that's a little defective. It sucks that you're the one that got it, but you can't make everything 100% perfect when you're making this many devices. I don't think that's an issue. That's my personal opinion. You guys agree?
I agree. And my first Evo 3D had multiple dead pixels, and I had to take it back. And I mean, the nice thing with something that you get in a store, you can take it back and they hand you a new one, and you walk out the door and it's done. Whereas this, you have to, call some phone number or send an email to who knows who.
Oh my God! And the wait time is horrendous for Google Play Store. Oh my God.
I heard people saying that they were on hold for a while.
Hour and a half.
Wow. That's a shame.
3 calls.
So there's some screen lifting issues. Now, all of us that have them here, does any of you have any screen lifting issues?
Not at all, and I actually do on my Asus Transformer Prime. But
yeah, I did have that issue on my Prime.
But not.
You know what? So the Prime had it, and we didn't hear about it.
The Transformer had it too.
It's interesting. I think the Nexus 7's build quality is much better than the Prime.
I agree.
Even though it's like half the cost, which I find it surprised the hell out of me.
Yeah, no, it's an extremely well-built device.
So people are noticing this more because it's a more popular device. Or is it just because it's hey, it's Google's first tablet, we're gonna scrutinize it to hell?
I mean, it could be nitpicking. It could be just that Asus hasn't perfected their IPS technology and just isn't doing it well enough, and so more people are seeing it because it's more popular. But the Transformer Prime is a pretty popular tablet, and people were fast to jump over ridiculous nonsense like GPS problems in a Wi-Fi only device.
Now,
does this one even have GPS? I don't know. I haven't checked. It's Wi-Fi only.
Yeah, we've talked about that in the show. Now, the screen lifting issue, once again, if you bought it from Google, you can go ahead and call them up and say, and make a case saying how bad your screen is lifting up, and they'll send you a new one right away. There's many reports all over the interwebs about that. So if you're having that and it's that big of a deal, I mean, some people are reporting it being a millimeter or two lifting up. Mine's fine. So, and everybody else in here looks like they're having, it's fine. So if you're nitpicking that much and you want something to be perfect, then go ahead and go through the right channels. There were reports of people actually taking it apart and tightening some of the screws. I guess the screws along the left side were only about 70-80% tightened, and you could tighten it another 1 or 2 turns. That fixed it for most people, it seems, for a day or so. But then if the screen started lifting again. So it must be the adhesive tape or however it attaches is a little bit loose on that side. But like I said, if you can't fix it yourself or you don't want to, call Google. I mean, they're gonna replace it for you. So now I said that other tablets, have a little bit of defectiveness, dead pixels, whatever. Not everything has that. Let's talk about the latest iPad, the new iPad, the iPad 3, whatever you want to call it, iPad HD, whatever floats your boat. A lot of people complained about that device. It's not really a hardware thing, but people complained about the price. It's pretty expensive. But related to hardware, people complained a lot about Wi-Fi connectivity issues with the new iPad.
There was an OS update for it too.
Yeah, exactly. So not like I said, even magical Apple has these problems too. We keep saying everybody has these. A lot of people complain about the new iPad being extremely hot and overheating. And heat graphs show that it is hot. I mean, that also might be because it has LTE and it's mostly battery. But hey, it's really hot.
It's using a quad-core GPU into a outdated manufacturing process.
And people complain about the battery not charging to 100% full when it says it's full. It's really not 100%. People complain that the battery on the iPad was extremely slow to charge. Yeah, so I mean,
it wasn't really slow. It was just freaking massive.
Yeah.
I think the common thread there is people complain.
Yeah.
If someone has a problem about something, they're much more likely to go on the internet and complain. I mean, the Nexus 7 is a very popular device, and a handful of people probably got some defective units and have been, being very outspoken about it.
You can't please everybody. You really can't. And if you do really have something wrong with it, you can get it fixed.
Okay, so let's move on to the good. If you have the device, what's good about the device?
Unlocking that bootloader.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. So, let me talk about the price here. Before we talk about everything. So this thing costs $200 if you got the 8 gig version, right? Now. And
then the 16 gig was.
16 gig was $250. Now you can actually knock that down almost $100 if you look with all the content it comes with. So it comes with a $10 Google Wallet credit. Yeah, that's right. You can look like a bozo holding a 7-inch tablet up to a NFC appliance and make a purchase. You know what? It's $10. Go do it.
It also puts it on your account, though, right? Like you don't have to use it with this.
No,
it's two separate devices.
I did not know that. I was incorrect. Earlier this week, I powered on my Nexus 7. I saw I had $10. I was like, cha-ching. I looked on my phone. It doesn't have $10. I found out that it's per device only. It's not account-wide.
Interesting.
So you have $10. So go use it. Go get gas.
So you can't make a Google Wallet account a universal account for all your devices?
I'm calling up Money Network tomorrow to find out.
I said I'm betting with the prepaid $10, that they give you, but because
if you can put an amount into a universal. Let's say I have 3 devices, I can put $100 and it'll be available on those 3 devices.
But the devices have different card numbers, so you gotta somehow merge them together. Maybe, I don't know, but they're 2 different numbers.
It kind of I guess. When and if Google adds support for every credit card out there, it'll be a lot better. But yeah, right now I guess it's device bound for prepaid at least. I mean,
I would just feel like such a fool holding up my a tablet at a gas station to the pump to try to pay for gas.
I didn't do it yet. But
I'd be more comfortable doing it at the
get my
pump
3 gallons of gas.
Well,
I did it at McDonald's, playing Angry Birds, waiting in line, took my order, tap, go, and just moved on. Got the weirdest looks, but it's like using an iPad to take photos.
All right, so you get $10 right now, and everybody knows you get $25 Play Store credit because Google wants you to use the device. They're giving you $25 to go out there and buy.
More specifically, they want you to use the device to buy stuff from Google.
Now that $25 is account wide, so you could actually buy something for your phone. But either way, it's $25 of Play Store credit. So that's $35. Now, if you add the $58 of free content that actually comes from the device, remember it comes with a movie, Transformers, Dark Side of the Moon, or Dark of the Moon, sorry. It comes with 5 magazines, comes with a book if you're into reading. Comes with,
I get magazines?
It comes with like Esquire, Popular Science, Food Network, I don't remember them all. And it comes with 20 different songs. So if you add up the price of everything, that's another $58 right there. So all the free content.
Now, I think this free content that they're giving out is using as a hook. And basically the hook is into their ecosystem, which is a very wise decision for them to give out free stuff, because ultimately it says, hey, you can use this money, but it will be used in our ecosystem, and therefore you will have content and apps and information on our ecosystem, and it'll be harder for you to move it. And it will be, it can't be moved. So I think it was a good, wise decision to offer a lot of free content.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're working on a very small margin. Their goal is to sell more content.
Yep.
So the device, you can knock almost $100 off. If you add all those up, it's $93. That's pretty awesome. For a $200 tablet, you're talking, just look like $107. Yeah, $107. If you don't count tax and shipping or whatever. But still, it $110 or something. Let's talk about Dan. You go first. What do you think of the Nexus 7? You got one. You've been using it for a couple days now.
Well, can we stay on like a per specific thing? So like the size. Like, what do you guys think about the size?
I like the size a lot. It's a lot more convenient to hold in a single hand than a 10-inch tablet like the Transformer Prime. So if you're reading, or especially if you're laying down or trying to, like recline or relax, it's a lot easier to hold in just one hand.
Okay.
Yeah, I will agree with that. I have a 10-inch tablet that when I was laying in bed, I would change positions constantly. I'm holding it up above my head. I rest it on my chest. I put it on its side. I lay on my side, trying to find the perfect way to watch, listen, use whatever I'm doing, and it is it's extremely hard to use. You get tired of using it one way or another. So, you know what? With a 7-inch tablet, I don't get tired. As Dan said, you can hold a 7-inch tablet, the Nexus 7, in your hand, and you don't have to sit there and swap hands. It fits in your hand perfectly, and it's great. The size is exactly perfect. I love it.
So how about the weight of the device? Is the weight too heavy to constantly keep holding there, or is it
No, you don't even notice it.
Very light.
If you've ever had like one of the e-ink Kindles, it's much closer to that than any of the other old Android tablets. You barely notice it.
Is it too light?
No, I could have this in my head like a note with no issues, man. They need to make this into a phone.
Well, with Groove IP, it can be a phone.
Yeah, but I need a headset. No, I want to hold it to my ear.
Well,
and be that guy.
Actually, with a headset, it'd be even better.
You're already that guy using it as a wallet, so.
I mean, it's been insanely hot in where I live lately, and so I've just been throwing it in like cargo short pockets, and you don't even notice it's there. Whereas with a 10-inch tablet, you've got to try to like tuck it under your arm when you're like running out the door to go to work, and you're always afraid of dropping it. I think the size is it's really great for obviously for some tasks it's not appropriate, but for just for portability wise, it's fantastic.
So you're saying size does matter? I'm hearing. I mean, it really does.
Size does matter.
You had to take it there, didn't you?
It's using the right size device for the right purpose.
Yeah.
I'm a small guy and it fits in my dress pants. I mean, it's portable. It's just go. I mean, it's amazing.
I put them in my khakis today when I needed to go use it for a reading device in certain rooms of the office. In
my jeans pockets.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the form factor, the 7-inch form factor, what is it not ideal for that a 10-inch tablet does better?
Typing.
I would disagree. I can hold this thing and type with my 2 thumbs here just as fast as I can, if not faster or better than a 10-inch tablet.
Yeah, but with
way faster on my Transformer Prime's keyboard.
No,
or even something when you put it in landscape mode, it's easier to type on, but because the screen is so narrow, you lose a whole bunch of screen space. It's a lot easier on a 10-inch in landscape to type on glass if you're typing on glass. I mean, I have a Transformer Prime, but I don't always carry the keyboard with me. And some websites don't render right when it's in portrait mode. It's just it's too narrow, and then when you put it in landscape mode, then you just can't see enough of it. So for some things, the 10-inch is a little bit better.
Okay.
But having an 11-inch laptop, I mean, I'm in that gap where 10 inches is why I bring it. I have my laptop. 7 inches is right there, so it's got its own little niche market.
Yeah.
It definitely does have that. I mean, like I said, it's extremely portable, and I'm going just because it's light and it's small and the form factor I think is perfect, I'm going to use it so much more than I have my existing tablet. I'm not going to have a honeymoon phase where in a couple weeks I'm going to stop using it. I'm going to use it every day.
Okay, so a big feature of this tablet is the price and the form factor and Jelly Bean. So speed-wise, is it buttery smooth?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I'll tell you what. Did you guys use it before you got the 4.11 update?
For like an hour.
I turned it on and I immediately saw the My Play library. I swiped left and right and I said, ugh, look at that lag. because MG Siegler put out a big article a few days prior praising the Nexus 7 and how good it was, except for the lag. Now, I was like, whatever, it doesn't lag, fanboy, blah, 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 but I saw lag, and I was kind of like, wow, really? I'm going to have to delete these widgets from the home screens because it lagged. And then, 5 minutes later, I get the 4.11 update, and then, boom, no lag. So the preview version that it came with, the one that was given out of the I.O., just 4.1, there was lag. 4.11, boom, no performance issues whatsoever. It's amazing now.
Did you attach your Google account to it when you ordered it?
I did not. However, it did say "Welcome, Derek" when I first turned it on.
You probably did. It was automatically checked.
Oh, okay.
So if you didn't uncheck it, then yes, you did.
I did not uncheck anything. I ordered that thing before the link was live, and I'm like, I'm going to order it quick. When
I first turned it on, it was really slow for about the first, probably about 15 minutes, while it was downloading all of my Gmail account, all of my 800+ contacts, all of my Google+, my Google Books,
my
Google Music.
That first sync is always slow on any device.
Oh, yeah. So the first 15 to 25 minutes were chugging slow. And then it finally finished syncing everything, and then I applied the update, and it's been buttery smooth since then.
It's obviously has more cores than my Galaxy Nexus does, but it is so fast. I haven't seen any issues.
But it's interesting to compare it to the Asus Transformer Prime, which has a higher end Tegra 3. I mean, there's different models of the Tegra 3, and the one in the 7 is a little bit lower end model. But with Jelly Bean, it's much more responsive than the Prime.
Yeah.
Now, the Prime has always seemed a little slow for some things.
Well, the Tegra 3 kernel that's in the Prime is kind of part of the problem.
Yeah. It's
a
2.6,
very
right?
out-of-date kernel. It's 2.6.39, which is a weird version to be using in the first place. And current for Linux is 3.4.
They're backporting a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and with ICS, Android's supposed default was 3.x. So, it's always been a little bit hamstrung by that. Whereas the Nexus 7 is on a 3.1 point, I don't remember what kernel. 10, I think. 3.1.
I think a lot of the Tegra-based ICS devices got stuck on a 2.6 kernel for whatever reason. But it looks like they've
because nobody had released 3.0 source, and nobody other than NVIDIA had the skills to
and it looks like they finally have that worked out now with the 7. So I'm hoping that
Oh yes,
with the Prime and the Zoom and whatnot.
Transition to others.
So Google is assuming that people are going to use this as a content consumption device. Now, content on the Nexus 7, is it good? How is video playback? Is audio quality good?
Audio's nice.
Audio's nice? I hear that it's louder than the Galaxy Nexus.
Oh, well, that's a different story.
Yeah, it is a lot louder than the Galaxy Nexus. It's pretty loud. I mean, you turn music.
For that tiny little speaker strip, I'm amazed at how loud it'll fill a room.
You turn the video up, it's loud. I like it.
And the screen's gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
It's the IPS display. It's got great viewing angles. The colors are great. It's hands down the best display on a tablet that I have right now. And I've got half a dozen tablets right now.
So the free movie that you guys have played without a hiccup, it was great quality.
I watched
the free movie, but I've watched other videos on it.
I can stream 720p or 1080p content from YouTube with no problems, no drop frames, no hiccuping.
Yeah,
it's very nice. I'm completely content with the content. Now, some people were complaining about, since we're talking about the screen here, some people were talking about a little bit of imaging, bleeding over and so forth. I haven't seen any of that. I've actually tested it. I don't see any image bleeding over or anything like that.
No. I also don't see any light leak, which is impressive, because that's usually one of the downsides with IPS.
I've seen a little bit of ghosting here and there. But nothing major. Although I did have one strange screen-related issue where last night and early this morning it wouldn't turn on, but it seemed to. It was quite odd. As soon as I called the Google number, the screen came on. It was almost like Google knew what I was doing.
That might not be a screen issue. That might be
It's
something
Google
else.
now.
Yeah, I
Google
think
now
that
they
would.
know.
Yeah, I think that it was something else. But it was, you're hitting there, mashing the power button, and
Well,
nothing.
let's talk about Google now. So, on a tablet, on the Nexus 7 tablet, it's only Wi-Fi only. So, you're using Google now when you're at home, you're at work, coffee shop, restaurant, hotel, whatever. Anywhere you have a hotspot or a mobile hotspot, you're tethering your phone. So, is Google Now as useful? I say yes.
No,
Yes.
I haven't used it on the Nexus 7 at all yet.
I've used it a little bit, but I find that I'll leave my house or my work and get to wherever I'm going, and I'll glance at it, and I'll have 8 cards of random traffic to random places that I've been over the last 6 months.
Yeah. Well,
So
I don't find that to
your
be
first
useful.
experience with Google Now, isn't it, Dan?
Yes.
Yeah. So anything you've ever checked into on Latitude, or any place you've been for an extended period of time.
It logs it.
Hence, example, my parents' house. It gives me directions to my parents' house. Which obviously I've never checked in there. I've just had GPS location there.
Yeah. I don't mind it giving me traffic information to it. I get random traffic information to IKEA. I'm not going to IKEA.
Yeah.
I have no interest in anything at IKEA at the moment.
I
don't need this information. It's
Yeah,
just taking up my time to dismiss it now.
Yeah, I had a very similar experience. I was in New York City over the weekend, and I've got Jelly Bean on my Nexus, and was checking into coffee shops or whatnot. And then 2 days later, it was saying, "Oh yeah, that random coffee shop you were at in the East Village on Friday. Do you want to go there again? Here's subway directions there."
No.
No, I'm 160 blocks away from that. Why are you trying to get me to go way downtown now? So yeah, I have not found Google Now terribly useful. I was really psyched about it early on, but at least initially, I think that the learning phase is a bit too high. I was hoping that if I actually took it with me on on vacation, that it could start suggesting things. But it wouldn't suggest restaurants in the neighborhood where I was. It would suggest things on the completely other side of the city.
Now, was that a GPS issue? Did it have?
Oh yeah, it knew where it was. I mean, I was outside. I had a clear view of the sky, but it.
Okay. Well, let's. We talked about all the benefits of stock. Nexus 7 Jelly Bean stock. Now, a little touchy subject is rooting and ROMing your brand new device. I personally am going to hold off as long as possible to root my tablet because I don't know of any benefits now to do it. I'm a hardcore rooter, ROMer, flasher, crack flasher, whatever. Last night I wiped my Galaxy Nexus 4 different times to put on 4 different ROMs. So yeah, I do this practically for a living. I've been rooting phones and tablets. Every single Android device I've ever owned, I've done that too. So why am I different this time? Well, I think Android has reached a point in its UI where it's extremely polished that you don't need to do it for speed or enhancements. But also, I can't think of any reasons why I need it on a tablet that is basically based on content consumption. It's all streamed from the cloud. I don't have any apps that I need root access for on this tablet. How about you guys?
I haven't rooted mine yet. I haven't even unlocked it yet, actually. But there are a couple of things that I think I would like to be able to change that can't be changed without root. For example, I'd like to have the battery percentage reported in the notification bar. I can't change it from a battery icon.
Now,
most apps. You can install a widget that.
Now remember, Dan, that's coming from a phone where phones last a day, where this thing is supposed to have 10 hours of screen on time. So, are you really that concerned about battery life on something that's going to last this long, anyways?
I like to know what it's at. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I unlocked my bootloader. That was the first thing I did when I took it out of the box, but I haven't rooted it. I haven't installed Clockwork on it yet. I did that just so I can later if I need to.
Without wiping?
Yeah, I mean, maybe if I needed to, run, titanium backup or something on it at some point, it's nice to have the flexibility. But
super user.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, when and if I do unlock it and root it, I'll probably do it to sort of accomplish a few specific things that I want to change, and then never really think about it again or use root for really much of anything.
I guess I didn't even unlock my bootloader with my Galaxy Nexus. Before I even turned it on, I plugged it into USB cable, went into the bootloader, fast boot OEM unlocked. The very first time it booted up unlocked and rooted. That's just what I did. But I don't see I don't see a reason to do it yet. And yes, maybe if it comes down the road, CM10 comes out with some God feature, that, oh my God, I need to have that. Then you know what? Yeah, maybe I should have unlocked it. I'm going to wipe all my stuff. But you know what? Who cares? Everything I'm going to use this for is located in the cloud. I don't game, so I'm not going to lose level 97 of Angry Birds, or I only played Dead Trigger a couple times because it's cool to try it out. Maybe when that Torn game comes out, I'll play that. But I don't game that much anymore. So that's not it for me. I don't store anything on the tablet. So I'll go ahead and do that if it comes up. But for now, I'm not rooting it. I'm going to go as long as humanly possible to not root it. I don't see a benefit yet.
Yes, but on the off chance you did find a benefit, I mean, it was better to unlock the bootloader coming out of the box just in case.
Yeah.
Why go through the hassle of putting everything back on there or waiting for it to download back on?
Back it all up, download it all for you, and restore most of the settings.
Yeah, but you gotta wait.
But not the app content.
Exactly.
Yeah, but so what? I'm gonna have to sign into what? I'm gonna have to sign into an app. Like I said, I use this thing to browse the web. I use it to read content from Currents. Use Google Plus. Watch movies. I don't have any real type of app data. Let me see. Maybe my case is different because of what I use the tablet for, at least right now. Don't get me wrong. On my phone, I have 5 or 6 root-only apps. But I don't know if I'm going to need that type of functionality yet.
It's also a perspective thing, right? Like you said, you're flashing ROMs all the time, and I do the same thing pretty frequently. And so the idea of losing all of my data and installing everything all over again just isn't.
Well, yeah. Last night, I guess on my Galaxy Nexus, I thought I had everything working on the ROM I was running, the one I was testing. Found out it wasn't. Well, I'd already reinstalled all my apps. Damn it! So wipe it, reload it, try different ROM. Thought everything was working the way I wanted to. Nope, it wasn't. Went back to the one that I was currently running. I've said I wiped data 3 or 4 times. That didn't faze me. I'm so used to doing it. It's not a big deal to lose and redo. So Scott, how about you? If you had the Nexus 7, what would you do?
I'd leave it completely stock, and and that's what I would do. And I gave my perspective on having a stock device a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to stick to it. And it just kind of gives me a better perspective of what the average user can and can't do with their phone or tablet, and it gives me a better perspective of how I can communicate what Android offers, as opposed to, oh, hey, you got this ROM, and it completely changes everything, how it looks. Then when they get their device, you can't say, well, yours won't have this, yours won't have this, you have to do this and this and this. And it complicates everything, and I can understand how they would be like, whoa, that's way too much, you got to walk me through this, and I don't want to walk them through it. So I think stock is just a better perspective for me.
It's going to be hard, trust me. The first time I see some type of new functionality that some ROM has out there, like I guarantee you when CM10 comes out, and this is just a guess, I could be completely wrong, but when you flick up for Google Now, there's other icons located there, for different things, or for some feature I don't even know about yet that comes out for it, and I'm just like, wow, I'm going to go to the kid at the candy store, and I'm going to root it. I'm telling you right now, I said the same thing when the Galaxy Nexus, when I got it, because, however, I did unlock and root it right away. I didn't go custom ROM for a month, because I came from a world, from MIUI, where every week I was flashing a new update, and a lot of times I was wiping it. And I wanted to be completely stocked, completely stable for as long as possible. So I convinced myself to only be running as root for a month, the very first month of my Galaxy Nexus's life. And lo and behold, came January 15th, my buddy showed me the ROM he was running, and I was like, yep, I need all those features, go do it. Went home and did it that night. So in a couple weeks, when one of you guys hold up your tablet and show me what it's doing, I'm going to do it. I'm doing it, but damn it, I'm not doing it, okay? I know I'm gonna do it. It's just a matter of time, but I'm going to twist my own arm to stay stocked and experience it the way that Google intended it for now.
One of the popular root-only tweaks is changing the DPI. Dropping it from the 213 that it's at down to 160 gives you like the full 10-inch tablet interface.
Yeah, I don't hate the phone UI.
I don't hate it either. I'm not sure that necessarily means one isn't better than the other. I mean, I'm surprised that I like it. I dislike that it doesn't have a landscape launcher. That's really annoying.
Well, you can change it. There's a software button to make apps be landscape.
Apps, yes. The home screen is never landscape.
So breaking news, we have a Google Plus update out. What's new in the app, John?
You got tablet support, new feature, events with party mode, visual refresh and improved navigation, improved circle management, and bug fixes.
Circle management, I like that. Okay, we'll have to check it out later, but sorry about that. There's breaking news. I'm sure all you can go download that while we're talking now.
I think it's been really interesting to look at how developers, both native app developers and like web developers, are trying to. They're all trying to figure out, what do we do with this 7-inch tablet? Is it a small tablet? Is it a big phone? Is it something else? Because so many people have been caught up in this binary thinking of it's either a phone or a tablet, and tablets are 10 inches because that's kind of what Apple's product line looks like, and that kind of dominates people's thinking. And I like what Google did with the UI, where they took some aspects of the phone UI and some aspects of their tablet UI, and they made something that works right for this size. It's I've actually had a bunch of apps that I can't install on this. I've actually trying to find a Twitter app that I could install was actually kind of a pain, because I normally use Boyd wouldn't install, Tweetlands wouldn't install. I had to go back to Seismic.
Why wouldn't they install, Derek?
There are some things that are tablet-only apps.
Yeah, Market says they're not compatible.
Yep, like Bank of America's tablet app won't install, but Bank of America's phone app will install.
Yeah.
Which is annoying, because the tablet app is fantastic and the phone app is kind of crappy.
My HBO Go won't install.
If you go to the New York Times website, on the 7, you get the desktop version. But if you go to Twitter's website, you get the phone version. It's just kind of amusing to see how they're doing their user agent sniffing and what kind of branching they're doing. Ultimately, I think we need to stop thinking about things in terms of phone versus tablet and making assumptions about screen sizes. But it's I just put some at dinner. I put something out on Google Plus looking. So there's a new Firefox beta out for Android that finally brings tablet support in. And so I thought, I wonder what they're going to do on the 7. It's the phone version. Which I just think it's hysterical that this thing is unambiguously a tablet, but they're using the phone UI on it. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. I just think it's interesting, and I don't know if they did it intentionally or if it's just some sort of glitch in their device detection code.
Yeah.
But it's going to be an interesting area to watch for the next couple weeks as things shake out.
Yeah, as these things get more and more popular, developers will start embracing the different form factor. I see. I mean, before we haven't really seen a whole lot of use in this space. You had the Kindle Fire, you had the Galaxy Tab, the original one, the Galaxy Tab 7.0 Plus, which still has honeycomb, by the way. There's, so yeah, we'll start to see, I think, different differences coming in the very near future. With
I think it'll be a good thing for a lot of bigger screened phones too. I mean, most big phones are still stuck in the 4x4 home screen sort of paradigm. that this device, even though it's set up more looking like a phone, breaks. I mean, it's set up to be more than 4x4.
Yeah, you're right. It is.
Which is something
it's almost like a
Galaxy Note
hybrid.
Yeah, like the Galaxy Note being 4 icons by 4 icons is a joke. I don't want an icon taking up that much of that big of a screen.
Well, wait a second.
Just got an Evo.
Doesn't the iPad, with their 20,000 by whatever god number that is, do that? Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing?
I think with the iPad, you get more.
What is it, 5 icons? No.
Is there more on the iPad versus the iPhone? I mean, I don't know.
I think they're using. Yeah, it's numerically it's more icons, but even on their Retina display iPad, they just scaled up the pixel count.
I mean, yeah, they're still wasting a ton of space.
Yep. Okay. Well, let's see if we have any questions here about the Nexus 7 or anything else we talked about here. I know we had people talk. We had a few users talking about that. Nicholas Pike said that his screen was lifting up on his Nexus 7 that he got actually today, and they ordered it from Google. So he said he's going to look for a replacement. So yeah, once again, if you do have that issue, I mean, Google's going to back their product. They're a good company. So go ahead and give them a call and try to get that replaced. Then we have a little bit of Tegra 3 questions.
2.
It's a Tegra 3 question.
Both.
Tegra 2 questions, Tegra 3 questions. So yeah, actually, real quick. So Dan, as a developer, would you develop on a Tegra 3?
I've had a Transformer Prime since January, and I still haven't touched the kernel on it.
Okay. Well, there you have it. He doesn't want to deal with the headache. It sounds like.
So do you share Linus Torvalds' sentiments towards NVIDIA then?
No. I mean,
Okay.
the kernel is fully open sourced, and in ways that some of Qualcomm's code is not, which I like. But the Tegra line just has. I mean, it's had a lot of issues. NVIDIA is very much the latecomer to this game. And they're playing catch-up, and the Tegra 2 was not stellar. I mean, it was, they were the first dual-core to market, but they weren't outperforming single-core chips that were on the market at the time. So it wasn't particularly impressive. The Tegra 3 is leaps and bounds better than the Tegra 2, but it has had some significant glitches in it. I mean, they're from the HTC One X, the international one, the transformers that have it, all of them just have a lot of stutter, a lot of lag, a lot of little issues. And I'm hoping that a real 3.x kernel will help clean up that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Dan. I appreciate the insights from a developer, and thank you again for joining us this week. Derek Moore, thank you for joining us, and John, thank you for getting here exactly at the right time to start talking about the Nexus 7. We appreciate you stopping by.
Sony Google TV unboxing tomorrow, just so that you guys know.
Oh, nice. The Sony?
Yeah.
Are you getting the Vizio too?
No.
And just let everybody know, all of our viewers, if you can't make our show every week, typically we're on Fridays. We had a little bit of a thing that we couldn't make it on Friday, so we did it tonight. And you can find us on YouTube. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Android Authority. We're also on SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, Google Listen, and an RSS feed. If you want to know more information, every week after every show, we post it to AndroidAuthority.com, and you can also look at our RSS feed, AndroidAuthority.com/on-air.
All right, guys, thank you, and have a good evening, and have a great weekend.
Peace out.
Yeah.